Typically when something like this happens, like the death of Eric Garner, like the death of Mike Brown, and typically when the justice system fails us, we sort of, as a society, pick up and say, well, let's get back to business as usual.
We wanted to do something at the tree lighting ceremony just because it is such a big event on campus, and the tone of it really is a celebratory one.
Our councils were approached by members of the Black Students Organization and other student groups to bring this acknowledgement to tree lighting.
A lot of the council members were more or less down with it. A couple council members expressed hesitation because they felt that this wasn't the sort of time, this wasn't the inappropriate event.
We wanted to do something there because not all students are in a mood to just be celebrating the holidays or going about these celebrations in a normal way, that Black students are experiencing this turmoil and trauma and death in Black communities across the country. What we did was something that is sometimes called an ethical spectacle. So Remy had just sang, as a part of the program of the event, the song Strange Fruit, which is about lynchings of Black people in the American South during the Jim Crow era. And so we wanted to make that connection because today more Black people are being killed by the police than were lynched at the height of the Jim Crow era in the South.
Were feelings of hopelessness, there were feelings of hope, there was anger, there was sadness, there were calls to love ourselves, because that's the most radical thing that you can do in a system that's built on seeing Black and brown people as anything less than human.
You know, I don't think through my career at Columbia that many Black students have ever come out to an action or even, you know, one event, like not even a party or something like that. And there are folks that helped organize this event who weren't necessarily organizers before putting this together, but there's a sense of we have to be doing something.
The decision to have only self-identified people of color die in was made with careful thought, and it was made for the very simple reason that people of color, specifically Black and brown people, are simply dying at higher rates when concerning murders, unjust murders by the police, than white people are. And that was a sentiment expressed by white allies at this meeting.
They left us dead! They left us dead! They left us dead! They left us dead! We're supposed to be mad! They left us dead! They left us dead! They left us dead!
A bunch of people from the crowd of the tree lighting ceremony started marching with us and stood and rallied with us in the street on 114th afterwards. And so that was really powerful to just see it kind of grow.
By the time the majority of us had gotten to the IRC, there were police vans on Broadway lined up, about 6 of them, and police had started to line up to make arrests. He said, well, because the powers that maybe thought that you guys were going to riot, and that's why the police were called. I take it as anytime Black and brown and white people get together and start to make change, there's immediately going to you immediately get called out for being rioters or looters or whatever.
There is no benign institution, and no one of us is not participating in this current system of criminalization and policing. You know, Columbia invests in prisons. Columbia is working with the NYPD in a kind of project to criminalize West Harlem, and that's the basis on which Columbia is expanding its empire into that space. And Columbia is also a part of perpetuating the inequality in the education system, ideas of who's deserving of opportunity and who's deserving of punishment and policing.
I can't even, that's just the tip of the iceberg of what Columbia is involved in as an institution that was founded on slavery.
We need to keep this as a sustained protest, and we need to keep organizing and developing our strategy more.
Thank you all for being raw as hell, for being Destroying Columbia.